Welcome everyone to the Monday Night Wars. This is the WCW side. It's week 38, June the 24th, 1996, the 41st episode of Nitro, the 38th week they've gone at it versus the WWF Live on Monday nights. Nitro beat Raw 3.4 to 2.7 this week. The Outsiders are a huge reason why they've maintained 3.5 for 2 weeks. This is significant because this episode is the start of the second week of the 83 weeks that Nitro beats them in a row. So 38 weeks, Nitro has 19 wins, including this week, 17 losses, and 2 draws. 19, 17, and 2. This is the Nitro that scored a 3.4 rating. Nitro begins with the Outsiders jackknifing Bischoff at the Great American Bash. Tony Schiavone plays that on commentary. He's with Larry Zbyszko. He's going to be doing the both hours tonight because Bischoff is still nursing injuries from the Great American Bash where the Outsiders jackknifed them to a table. So Nitro's live on TNT from the Independence Arena in Charlotte, North Carolina, also known as Flair Country. Fans chanted, we want Flair all night. Never got him. Backstage, Savage, Luger, and Sting cut a promo about how WCW is united. They each got promo time, little bits of their own, Savage, then Sting and Luger, respectively. All of a sudden, HarlemHeat and the Steiners and Luger and Sting are all backstage, and they all argue because they're all going to meet in a triangle match later for the tag titles that belong to Sting and Luger. All right, the show opens with the Public Enemy, Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock against the Blue Bloods, Lord Steven Regal and Squeer David Taylor, with Earl, Robert Eaton, and Jeeves. So we're just 13 days from Bash at the Beach, less than 2 Nitros away. This is the go-home until the go-home show, pretty much. Lord Steven Regal in there with Rocco Rock, and Regal went out for an arm wringer. He catapulted into a wrist lock and an arm bar, but Regal gets out and bashes his dancing. But the Rock and Roll hit a drop kick. In the end, at 5:49, Public Enemy get the win. Using the cast of Johnny Grunge to defeat the Blue Bloods as Taylor got knocked out. So I gave that match a star in 3/4. Kip B took on Kevin Sullivan. This guy watches Old Yeller and laughs at the end. That's what Larry Zbyszko said about Kevin Sullivan. This guy watches Old Yeller and laughs at the end. That's a great line. Sullivan with some hardcore brawling. They battled up the stairs into the bathroom again, just like he went to the bathroom at the Great American Bash versus Benoit. They battled back down to the stairs, and Kip B defeated Sullivan after he was disqualified, so I gave it a 1/4 star. It was just a nothing match where they battled to the bathroom and back. Jimmy Hart says Sullivan, if he hears Flair saying, woman, oh, won't you marry me now, or Space Mountain, then Jimmy Hart's going to choke himself to death. Well then. Dean Malenko took on Bobby Walker for the Cruiserweight Championship. A really good wrestling match here, and a really good quick exchange for this one as Malenko defended the title against Bobby Walker. Malenko locks up and they exchange standing switches. Malenko scores with an elbow and a snapmare before a stomp. A headlock slap ground on Bobby Walker for a moment, but he fights out of it, and then Malenko hits a suplex. Then a cross-abdominal stretch with Malenko laying on the canvas floor, hooking the arms of Bobby Walker while cradling the head of Bobby. Malenko with the camel clutch as Bobby Walker tried to get out. So unique how Malenko adapts to a new submission just after Bobby Walker gets out of one, he gets a new one on. He gets him over to the Texas Cloverleaf, but all of a sudden Disco Inferno comes to the ring. Disco Inferno with his CD in a frame, holding it above his shoulders and saying that they want to see him dance. So he says, play my music, and Disco Fever hits, and he starts doing the dance on the top rope while Malenko and Bobby Walker are wrestling. Bobby Walker got drop kicked into Disco Inferno, so Disco Inferno landed growing first, and both men to the floor, and Malenko defeated Bobby Walker, retaining the title at 4:39. I rated the match 2.5 stars, even though Disco Inferno kind of ruined it. He got on the mic after and said that Malenko was Mr. Personality and he needed to dance because the show was all about ratings. So, they picked a stupid match to do that in. One of the best matches of the night, ironically. So, they pick Malenko and Bobby Walker, and they thought these were two nobodies. Whoever was booking the show, I'm pretty sure Bischoff pretty much thought, we might lose the audience on this one. Let's make Disco Inferno come and dance. Malenko was Wrestler of the Year for 1997 for a reason. Anyone could see this as a good match. Anyway, moving on. Eddie Guerrero on the Barbarian. Crossbody by the Barbarian, who hit a fallaway slam. But that's what they want. They want Disco Inferno to interrupt a match you want to see because they want us to get him hated. So a crossbody by the Barbarian as he took on Eddie Guerrero. Hard Eye was tripped into the corner, and Barbarian hit a big-time powerbomb. The Barbarian wore Eddie down, and Eddie came with a methodical approach. Eddie moved out of the way and spotted an opening with the head scissors. The Barbarian hits him growing first with a belly-to-belly overhead suplex on the top rope. Amazing agility and power by the Barbarian. He tries to do it again, but he falls, and Eddie Guerrero counters with perseverance and power, and Eddie Guerrero pins with his shoulders to the mat, the Barbarian's shoulders to the mat, so Eddie gets the surprise victory. Hour 2 on Nitro goes off, the Pyros go off, and the Four Horsemen take on the Rock and Roll Express. Arn Anderson, and Benoit came up with Mongo. Benoit's whole face is still battered and bruised. Arn and Morton start in the ring, and the Rock and Roll made frequent tags. Arn would go out of the ring and set up Morton. Benoit would hit him hard. They came with a hard forearm as Mongo watches Benoit attack him on the outside. Back inside, Arn catapulted the Rock and Roll Express's Ricky Morton into the rope. Ricky looked for a hot tag to Gibson. It didn't come. Benoit cut the ring in half, and him and Arn isolated Ricky Morton in the corner. Gibson does get the tag, comes in and drops everybody, but in the end, at 9 minutes, the Horsemen win in Horseman Country, dropping the Rock and Roll Express to 0-2 on Nitro as Benoit gets the cover. Rated at 2 stars and 3/4. Savage, Kevin Green, and Joe Gomez come out to try and even the odds with the Horsemen after the match. Ric Flair gets interviewed backstage with women Liz and Deborah. They talk about how security is tightened because the outsiders have been spotted. They've been spotted in the arena, so the security has been tightened. DDP took on Alex Wright. Diamond Cutter got in the victory at 4:12. DDP is interviewed about a match with Duggan with a taped this match it's going to be. Macho Man took on VK Wall Street. VK Wall Street, also known as IRS. Mike Rotunda, the father of Bray Wyatt. Randy Savage stomped away on VK Wall Street hard in the corner. Fans in Charlotte were still chanting, "We want Flair," because it's a Savage match, and the Savage Flair had a program at the time. The fans chanted, "We want Flair." Savage went up for a top rope elbow after a few minutes of domination, and VK Wall Street had it scouted. But then outside of the ring, Savage came in, and Kevin Green, the football player, sent him back inside, and Savage hit the elbow drop and got the victory at 4:37. I rated it a 1.5 stars. In the main event, Harlem Heat, Booker T, and Stevie Ray took on Lex Luger and Sting and the Steiner brothers in a triangle tag match. The outsiders still haven't showed up, but this triangle tag takes place. Scott Steiner ducks a scissors kick by Booker T, a pump handle slam by Steiner to Booker T. Stevie Ray tagged in, and Rick and Stevie go at it. Booker breaks it up. Scott Steiner kicks in at Ray, and then it's a snapmare, and then there's a tag to Sting as Sting gets a weird tag from Scott Steiner, not expecting that, because you can only win the titles by being in the ring. So if you tag out, your team's not in the ring. Sting came down, Booker T weared down Sting and made it a tag to Stevie Ray as they isolated Sting in their corner. A scoop slam, and Sting goes for a Vader bomb as Sting gets up on Booker T, but Booker T gets his legs up, tags in Stevie Ray. He attacked Rick Steiner on the outside. Ray scoop slammed Sting in the ring and then held it trapezius hold. Scott Steiner then tagged in. We come back from a break and Booker T drops Sting. The fans are still chanting for Flair. Nonetheless, the match continued as Stevie Ray ran over Sting and landed face first into the groin. Was Stevie Ray. Booker T with the top rope splash, but Sting moved. Luger comes in and drops Harlem Heat. During the match, Hall and Nash come walking down the stairs as the fans all stand up and make a noise. At 10-minute mark, Harlem Heat become the new tag team champions of the world after Booker T cradled Luger, who went for a torture rack, but then Hall and Nash came out with bats, and they got distracted, so Booker T, with an inside cradle on Luger, got Harlem Heat the victory. I made it at 2.5 stars. Hall and Nash come to the ring with bats, and the security in the ring are all holding the WCW stars back. Fans are chanting Diesel, Diesel, and Razor. Hall and Nash make Shivani and Bobby Heenan uneasy as they have bats and they walk to the back because security is all over in the ring, preventing them from coming into the ring. But Shivani makes it known. This is war. This is absolutely war. On July 7th, their jobs are on the line. So who's the third man? They're going to find out at the Bash at the Beach. Nitro scored a 3.4 over 2.7 in the ratings over Raw. And I gave it a 6.5 out of 10 because there was great wrestling on the night. Nothing stellar, but good enough to hold your attention. Just missing that great match, but that's why the Malenkos and the Jerichos of the world, Rey Mysterio, will be appearing more regularly from this point out. So great Bash at the Beach build, pretty good Nitro, and they only get better from here on out. I'm Brett Mix. Thanks for watching this Nitro review. Hit like and subscribe, and I'm out.